two facilitators that kind of run the session. It's like a good mix between like business development and helping each other on the businesses and like sharing resources and skills, but then also a good mix of like journaling and breath work and meditating and that. And then on the other side, it's like just playing games and being kids and having like just being silly. So it's like, it was a very good balance of those things.
Yeah.
Mikey Talk, let's talk.
I'm ready.
Welcome to the Hot Media Podcast, bro. We're really very happy to have you on here to learn more about you, your stories, your future project, your ambition, your experience, everything.
Thank you, mate. I'm excited to be here. 3 weeks in this new spot, so I feel honoured to be kind of breaking it in early.
Yeah, let's go and break it in, man. We really needed you here for the that 3 week mark.
And some good ideas.
And some good ideas about what we're doing. But yeah, welcome, man. So you are Mikey Gayed, right, of Good Ideas Studio. Why don't you tell us a little bit about like your coming up, how you started the whole thing? I'm sure you've got a great story.
Yeah, so it started Good Ideas about 3.5 years ago now. So first, Good Ideas is a creative services company. So I work a lot of like one-off projects with businesses, helping them just do more kind of out-of-the-box type of brand building things, whether that's like a t-shirt activation or making a brand video or a website or whatever.
Why did you want to do that kind of agency opposed to, because like we work on a much retainer, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Say that.
It just kind of happened, I think. And with the clients that were coming on early, we, even up to this point, it's all been organic and referral and word of mouth. So it's more people coming to us and be like, hey, I need to do X. Can you help me? And then we'll kind of just come in and do it and then leave them on their way. And there's some clients that will come back a year later and we'll do another project or something together. But definitely tried doing the retainer model for a little bit and tried to work out like different packages and to offer that. But it didn't necessarily, I think, fit with with the resources that we had at Good Ideas. And also, I enjoy spending a bit of time to come up with a big kind of one-off project. Like next week we're heading to Vic Uni for their open day, and we've designed a bunch of tote bags. So we come down on open day with a heat press, and we just make tote bags for students on the day. Like stuff like that's kind of fun. But
How did you fall into it? Like you just said, you're a mortgage broker, and tell us a little bit about like growing up.
Yeah.
What did you study? Did you go to uni, college?
Yeah. So we're just talking off air a little bit about the crypto scene, which I guess was the immediate pivot into Good Ideas. But prior to that, when I was about 24, just picked up a commerce degree, mainly because I wanted to go study in the US, and I was kind of good at finance and just like general commerce stuff. So like, all right, I just want to go experience college life. I'll do a degree. Did that, and then went to San Diego and studied business and finance over there for a year in 2018. Amazing. It was an absolute incredible experience. Even when I remember being on the flight on the way home after the year had finished, I was like, fuck, like this has by far been the best year of my life, and I don't think I'll ever be able to top it. And I was also okay with that from how good it was. It wasn't until Good Ideas that started rolling the last year or so that I'm like, oh, actually, I definitely think I can beat it. Yeah, but it was. If that is the best year of my life, I'm happy with that. I mean, I'm a massive US sports fan, so just being there around that for NFL season and NBA and like the tailgating at the college football games before going in. Also, it was the first time, like I've always had jobs since I was 14. It was my first time having no commitments or no responsibilities. So to be 23 years old at an American college, getting paid X amount by the government a fortnight as like Centrelink for studying abroad, not allowed to get a job even if I wanted to. So you're kind of forced to be like, okay, like, wow, I have a lot of freedom. And the people that I made friends with that were over there were in the exact same position. So it was kind of like a unified, sick vibe of just everyone around. Yeah. So I did that, came home, and that's when I ended up getting a job as a mortgage broker, which was like my first corporate job in Melbourne. Did that for 2 years. With Natasha when we became shout out. She looked after me pretty well. I think if it wasn't for her, I probably would have left a lot sooner than I did, to be honest. Yeah, then after about
Sorry. Ask the questions, podcast time.
no, you're good. We're learning here. After about 2 years, I felt really unsettled. I remember my housemate at the time had a lead generation company that he'd been running for a few years, and his office was next to my mortgage broking office, and that's how I actually met him and started living with him. I just seen the life that he'd built for himself and the team he'd got and the freedom he'd have. Like, he would call these days like CEO days, where sometimes he just wouldn't go to the office and he would walk around Richmond and like buy records and drink coffee, and just like seeing that kind of life, I was like, man, like I'm sick of working for someone. I remember once my boss came home and I was earning shit all money as well, and there was no bonuses or whatever for that like month or that year, and which is fine. And then he came back from his lunch break and he was like really excited about these salt and pepper shakers that he bought for his office that were like $400 each. And I just remember that, like, just getting really pissed off that like he was able to go buy these like $400 salt and pepper shakers, and I was like busting my ass for the company and not making much money. That's also how it works. Like, you're an employee, like you work for someone. So I do get it. Just didn't sit that well.
Yeah. Not good at working for people.
Nah, I would much rather work for myself and know that the hard effort that I'm putting in is going, like, that I'm the one that's directly benefiting from it.
Yeah.
And then what happened? Like, how did the shift happen from there to NFTs, or from there to crypto? Like, how did you even hear about crypto? What made you jump in?
Yeah.
Like, I think you had a Newton to Ape or something.
Yeah, I lucked out with one of them. So after I left that mortgage broking gig, it was my housemate that kind of gave me the courage to do that, and just be like, hey, like, you're obviously not happy, like maybe you should just quit and have a think about what you want to do or what not. So one day I just walked in and quit, then ended up working at a gym for a little bit and just like picking up odd jobs, trying to work out actually what I want to do with my life. And then I got another job that was writing loans for small businesses, and at that job I met a guy called Tyson. Also, shout out Tyson. He was a legend at that job, and he was an interesting character. He always had like two monitors up. One was like for the sales, and then the other one was like Forex trading or crypto or NFTs. Like, he always had some hustle that was on. Yeah. So I remember just one day asking him, like, what are you doing? And he kind of started telling me about trading, and then this is as NFTs were first starting, and he's like explained what NFTs were, taught me how to set up a wallet, and then that night I went home and bought one, which ended up being a rug. I still remember it was called Hype Hippos, so like $300 each. And he's like, oh, maybe I wouldn't buy this one. It looks a bit sketchy. But I'm like, nah, fuck it. I'm already here. So I bought that, and yeah, then I became hooked, and I started like all my spare money that I was making from work, I was just buying and trading NFTs, and I got lucky on a few good ones and made a bit of money.
And then based on my memories from my experience at that time, because I think it was around that same time, I think that was also COVID.
It was also
COVID.
Yes, it was. It was.
There was a lot of like lockdowns and shit. That's how I got into it. I was just like at home basically. I have nothing better to do basically.
Yeah, the same thing happened because I was working full time, but from home. There was barely any work to do. So now I'm on a full-time salary. I'm like locked at home. I've just learned about this new way of making money through like funny little art pieces. Yeah, dumb shit. It was dumb shit. There was one Minecraft project I had. I was making like $200 a day just playing Minecraft. I'm like, what the fuck is going on? So that was cool. And then it was in the middle of COVID. I wasn't vaccinated, but it was fine because everyone was working from home. And then all of a sudden, the HR chick at the company called me and she's like, oh, you've got 3 months to get vaccinated. I was like, what? I was like, I'm working from home, not even in the office. She's like, nah, like you have till the end of the year. So that's when I really had like that was the inflection point for me, because it's like, okay, I'm a big believer in free will, and I really never had an opinion on the whole kind of vaccine thing until I was being kind of forced to do it, and then it just didn't sit right with me. So it's like, okay, if I believe in making my own decisions and not wanting to do that, then I need to actually be serious about this crypto stuff and try and make a way for that to fund my life, because I've got rent, I've got bills, I've got all these things. I need a wage. So that 3 months period, I kind of just went super hard on trading crypto and made some good money from it. So then when it got to the end of the year, I just walked away from my job. I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm going to see if I can like make a business from the crypto world. So this is now January 2022. I'd built up a bit of a community through Discord, because I don't know how you learnt to just buy wallets and get into crypto trading, but once Tyson taught me, I then seemed to be the person that was teaching all my friends and stuff. So it got to a point where I've got all these people messaging me, asking me like basic questions. So I was like, fuck it, I don't have time to like teach everyone. Every Thursday, I'm going to do Crypto Thursday at my house. We'll buy pizza. If you want to learn, come around that one night. I'll just like teach everyone at once. So I started doing that and then built a community on Discord to about 200 people just through that. So I was like, all right, now I've got like actually a little bit of like people who are listening to me. I'm going to try and start my own project. It was going to be called Mikey Babe's Burrito Club. I was going to get 420 little burritos drawn, sell them, and the money I made, NFTs.
If you don't hindsight this, it's a crazy time, man. It's like ridiculous, just like these little pieces of shit.
It does feel real, does it? Like even talking about it now, I'm like, what the hell was happening? And even the money I made from it, I was just going to use to throw a party. Like that was literally the business plan at that point. It was like, sell these NFTs, see how it goes about actually building one, selling it, throw a party. And then through that, I needed an artist to actually draw these burritos for me. So I reached out. To an artist. He had no idea about crypto NFTs, but he was like, "Come down to my studio. We can chat." I went down, pitched him the idea. He was like, "I can do this, but I don't really know like what it is, but I can draw them for you." And then that was my introduction to creatives because I never had really been around that many creative types before then, except for DJs.
Corporate, like commerce.
Yeah, I had mates that were DJs, but no like freelance videographers or designers or whatnot. And then after I met him, it became very clear that he was very good at the creative side and like doing the art, but not so good at the business side of things, even just like invoicing clients and taking notes and replying to emails and all that stuff. So we became really good friends after a while working on this NFT project. So I just started going to client meetings with him and helping him take notes and doing all those little bits and pieces. And then at his studio, there was a few videographers and photographers as well. And they all had the same problem. They're all like, "Oh, Mikey, can you do this for us as well?" Pretty much. Like, we just want to do the craft. Can you help bring the business in?
It's just so funny that you get kind of like dragged to these other people's businesses just because you started helping this one guy to like improve his business.
Yeah.
And with that guy, like just to kind of like gauge, you know, how this whole process was he paying you? Is that like what the deal was? Or you were just like, "I'll just help you out, like just because we're friends," or?
Yeah, pretty much. Well, I was paying him actually because I was a client of his. He was building my crypto brand. He just offered me to hang out at his studio whenever I wanted. And as we're saying, this is right after COVID. Hadn't had any socializing in a while. Also, seeing artists and being in a creative studio for me was really refreshing, especially coming from the mortgage broking world. So I was hanging out there all the time. So I just started doing it.
But also, sorry, at that point, I feel like at that time, artists, especially if you're in the NFT world, artists were like the hot talk. Like, you need a good artist to create good projects. The better the artist, the better the art, the better the project. It was just all about art.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it makes sense for you to be obsessed with him. But like, what was I going to say? Did you have any creative inclination prior to meeting this guy?
Zero. Yeah, absolutely zero. I didn't even know how much a logo costs or how much to charge for anything. I'd never been around any creatives like whatsoever.
But you wouldn't like consider yourself as like a creative guy before that? Like you weren't into like any...
Not even when you were a kid?
Nah, not even when I was a kid. I love sport, love basketball, whatnot. Never drew, never did any type of music. Never nothing really. It's not until these last, I guess, 3 or 4 years of my life that I feel like a creative person, and now it's coming out in ways that I never would have imagined. But also on the business side of things, like that is another form of creative. It's like, how do you structure the business? How do you win jobs? How do you go about there's a lot of ways that can come out without being on the tools.
How do you solve problems?
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so few artists,
you're helping
them business, working on your current project, the NFT, the burritos. And then so the burritos got put aside, and the artist I was working with proposed starting Good Ideas as a studio that offered like Web3 consulting, marketing, and graphic design. So that's when Good Ideas were born. That's when Good Ideas was born. So he asked if I would put the Mikey Babe's Burrito Club aside, and that makes sense. And to me, logically, I'm like, okay, this seems like a much stronger opportunity. I gotta say, Good Ideas. Yeah, it works, doesn't it?
But then just as we'll officially open the business June 5th, 2022, and coming up to that is when we're still kind of heavy on the crypto stuff under Good Ideas. I even think that you came to we actually ran a whole NFT event as Good Ideas.
I think that must be the one that we went to.
Yeah. Yeah. But then just before we launched, made the decision to completely cut the NFT side out of the business. It was just as things were about to crash. I kind of could see it coming. I'm like, man, if we're about to open up a new studio, if we are so tied to this NFT side, then if it does shit the bed, we're kind of screwed. So made some decisions, and when we launched as a pure creative studio, and we cut crypto straight from then. And that was June 2022. I haven't touched it since.
What about what were you offering as that initial Good Ideas? So you cut the crypto. What were you servicing on service offerings?
Yeah. So then it was branding, photography, and videography. So we had a few creatives that had joined this studio with us that were in those kind of elements.
As contractors?
As casual employees. So we started it off as having a team of casual employees with the vision to grow it into a spot where we could move from casual to full-time. But I guess casual and subcontract is pretty much the same thing. Like, you're just getting paid for the hours that you work.
And how was that period like, starting a new business? It's basically your first business as well.
Yeah.
With other people and a completely new world for you, the creative world, and like, how did you deal with it?
It was really exciting. It was like super stressful. I think a lot of faith was needed, just understanding that didn't really know exactly what this was, but just having this big vision and knowing if we stuck it out and kept working on it, that eventually we would work it out.
What was the vision?
The vision was to grow Good Ideas, to put Footscray on the map. That was one of our visions when we had the studio then. We ran like a lot of community events, even from the start. Like the first launch we had about 250 people down at the studio, had the free burgers, had the hoodies, all these things. And it was, we kept running these kind of events at the studio, and we built this community in Footscray that was going really well. So it was a vision to go like, all right, Footscray, then the world, and kind of like how Brooklyn in a way has its own kind of like its own vibe and its own aesthetic. It's like we can kind of bring Footscray to the rest of the world. That, and then to just grow the Good Ideas brand alongside the agency. So it's have these offerings that we can offer to clients, but then also have Good Ideas as a strong brand itself. So when we work with people, we're not just servicing them, we actually can collaborate with them. We can bring eyes and our own followers to the clients that we work with in a way.
Right. What was like the most challenges that you had to like overcome at that time on a personal level?
One of the biggest challenges was pretty much cutting out my whole social life as well. Like, I lived in Abbotsford and the studio was in Footscray. It would take me like 30 minutes to drive in there, and we're trying to build this thing also to bring in money to pay the rent and pay the staff and all these things. So for a year or two, I really did sacrifice everything from finances to social life to family to all these things. Like, it got to a point where I'd take a mattress to the studio and I'd put that in there and I would sleep on that because I had no disposable cash left. I spent everything that I had to actually start the studio and launch it in the first place. Stopped going to events, stopped drinking, stopped partying. Pretty much all, like my whole life that I had before, I just completely had to can. Even the relationship that I was in at the time, like that relationship started just before Good Ideas came about, and then as that started picking off, that fizzled out, and I really had to make a decision where it's like, if I believe in this thing, I got to just go all in on it. And it's a hard thing to make. Like, it really is kind of like shedding your skin in a way and committing to a new life.
So that is so crazy. Fucking hell. We haven't heard that from many other people.
That's like that type shit.
Yeah, you went crazy on the like startup. Even Mo. That's like
even for like a year, I fucking only ate rice and tuna. I would steal tuna from Woolies and buy rice, and like that's all I ate. I'd make a massive bowl like this, just pour the rice in, put a tuna in, and that's.
Did you like, what was your whole mentality around that? Did you do it because you had to, or did you do it because you felt like that was what you had to do? Because me personally, with the business, I don't think that I could go and like just sacrifice my whole ass life
for it. Like to me, it wouldn't like make sense. Like I shouldn't. To me, I'm like, oh, I shouldn't have my business if I have to literally sacrifice my whole life for it. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I think one of the things was I kind of committed to it, and like once Good Ideas started going, I didn't realize, like I said before, I thought this was just gonna be a little NFT project, and all of a sudden I've got like a team of 8 and a studio. It just kind of happened overnight, and then it got to a point where I couldn't quit. Like there's other people relying on me, and I wasn't able to pay myself enough. Like I was paying myself enough to pay my rent and my bills, and like that was it. So there wasn't that disposable cash there, and I wasn't going to take it from the company because one, it wasn't necessarily there yet. 2, that's at the time where you got to actually invest it into the business to grow it. So yeah, it was kind of a mix between I had no choice, but also I couldn't I couldn't go back. I'd gone too far.
You went for it.
Yeah. But I also believed, like I could feel it, and anyone that's walked through the Good Ideas, like back when we were in Footscray, anyone that walked through that studio said the same thing, where it just had this really special feeling about it. And I don't know necessarily what it was. Maybe it is because it was like the first creative venture that I'd been around, but everyone that came in felt like it was a home. Like we had a lot of artists and creatives that would come in that had never really had that sense of community or belonging before and felt like they were doing it on their own. And then they walk in and now you're with 200 other misfits that feel the same. It was just a special feeling about the place.
Cool. Wow. And you said like, you said it was like 5 levels, right?
Yeah.
So what was on all the levels? Like how many people are in there? Like what was the go?
Yeah.
It's like, was it just you, your team and your employees, or like you had a bunch of people working there? What was the...
Yeah, just us there. So we grew to about 10 people on the team at around a year and a half. So the 5 floors were split on across like 2. So it was like 3 on one side, then 2 on the other side. So you walk in first, and that was the Good Ideas shop. So that's where we had like hoodies and art and like all of our own products and different things we'd made for clients. It was kind of like a showroom. And then you walk upstairs and there was a photography studio. And then you walk above that and it was the office. That's where all the desks and the computers and stuff were. And then next to the photography studio was kind of like a client meeting boardroom. And then below that was an artist workshop. So
you spent hard from the beginning.
Yeah.
Because we started with like a tiny room that could only fit like 2 people in it, like a shed, in like a co-working.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's one of the things where it was like, and like the rent on that place was $4,500 a month. So straight from the start, we're like, we need to be making at least that to just pay the rent.
Yeah, I gotta say that is actually hectic. Start a business with that much ease. Yeah, like, I mean, you know, I reflect back on our journey. It's like this is our 5th year now, and we only moved into this place, which is like the first time kind of like not sharing and a bigger place. But like it took us 5 years to like have the balls to do this, and it's still like scary to jump into something like that from day one. I don't know if I could have that. Like, and I feel like it kind of justifies what you were talking about before, like the pressure. Like, if I don't fucking work and eat tuna and overwork and, you know, do all these things, I might not be able to afford to pay the rent next week. And like that pressure, that fear of like, yeah, failure and all that kind of makes sense, you know.
Yeah, and I wouldn't necessarily advise it. Like, I think it's a pretty dumb thing to do. It's one of those things that just happened, and before we knew it, like, we had the place. But it's definitely like, yeah.
It's full on. Yeah, I was going to ask the question, if you could go back, would you do it differently?
Yeah, I would. How I'm running it right now is exactly how Good Ideas needs to be run. But while saying that, especially coming in as someone that had never been a creative or worked in the creative industry, I needed those 2 years to be around all of that and to feel the financial pressure and to try and work it out to now have what I have now. So I wouldn't take it back. Like, I wouldn't change a thing. I'm glad that we had those 2 years, but I definitely wouldn't give that advice to someone else.
What so tell us, so you touched on it then about the structure of Good Ideas now. So you started obviously getting clients. That's obviously how you sustained it. And do you want to talk a little bit about that, kind of like the progression?
Yeah. So started this year, shut down the studio in Footscray that we had for 2.5 years and moved to a very lean, more online digital model where it's now just myself. I'll consult with businesses, work out what they need. I'll do like the mood boarding and the briefing and coming up with the creative plan with the clients. And then once that's all approved, I'll reach out to a creative that I have like on my roster as a subcontractor and be like, all right, Josh, here's the brief, here's the budget, here's the deadline. Do you want the job? And then he'll either be like, yep, I'll take it, or no, I'm too busy, and then I'll reach out to someone else. So I can kind of like just work one-on-one with the clients and then get it fulfilled by these really talented creatives that I have under me.
Very interesting, because you spoke about how beautiful it was, the feeling you guys had in that studio, and now it's like you're basically almost isolated from all that. Like, that must have been a little bit hard to like make that shift. Like, I don't know. What do you enjoy more? Do you like? It's good not to have that overhead and all the office expenses and the studio life, but what about like that community vibe and like the special feeling you had?
Yeah.
How was it like letting go of that?
Yeah, it definitely took a little bit to adjust to, and I don't want to lose that. Like, I still love all that community and that social side of it. So now it's just finding a way to keep that energy in new and interesting ways that still fit for good ideas. So, example, one of my mates and clients, Pez, is a drum and bass DJ. So I built the brand for an online radio show he has, and then earlier this year we were able to throw an actual live drum and bass event where we had t-shirt pressing at the club and doing all that. So it's like now taking all these little community activations that we used to do from the Good Ideas studio and doing them out in the world. So that was really cool. And then recently started a collection of hoodies through Good Ideas called Good Humans, where every week we release a new hoodie colorway in honor of someone in our community that's a good person. And we'll get them to pick the color of the hoodie and the color of the print and then do like a bit of a write-up on them, kind of like Humans of New York. I don't know if you remember that when that was kind of kicking off. So that's another way to keep the community thing going while we're still online. So it's just about now adapting to it and still finding a way to keep that spark alive.
Just about turning it into kind of like IRL stuff.
Yeah, which I think is important, especially the direction of where everything's going from AI to whatnot. I really think in-person events and that community feeling, any brand or business that can nail that authentically is going to have to, I think.
Yeah, I think it's great because there's this like big rise in, you know, not needing people to do things, but there's also this big rise in the counterculture of that and being like, no, we actually need to connect, and everyone's feeling so lonely and like struggling to find new people to be with and all that kind of stuff. So I think definitely that's the way that things are trending at the moment.
Yeah.
Lots of community. I feel like there's been like a lot of community and a lot of music stuff trending at the moment. Like everything has like a DJ event attached to it.
Yeah.
And then like a community-based thing for people to just like try and connect and like also be sober, which I think is really a bit as well at the moment.
That's very trendy at the moment. Yeah. Alcohol's kind of a thing of the past now.
Yeah. So yeah, it's really important. But it's good. It sounds like you have been a community-driven person from the beginning that likes to connect, because just judging by your story, along the way, your kind of just personality has been the thing that like leads your life, basically. Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Like you just connecting with people and people resonating with you and wanting to work with you.
Yeah. One thing I've really realized about myself, that I get really G'd up about people that are passionate about something and are trying to make that passion come alive. That's where I feel myself sparking up. And because I don't really have the tangible skills to help there, how I can help is by bringing in clients and bringing in money and helping like fund these projects and whatnot. And that makes me really excited to see people like achieving their goals.
So right now you're working with all these creatives, and you like, it's almost like you're like, you bring the business, you kind of come with a strategy and coming, because you're not coming from a creative background basically, like, do you learn about these things, or do you think it just comes naturally, or like, yeah.
No, I have learned heaps. Like I definitely would say I'm 100% a creative person now. Like even now when clients come in, the creative doesn't touch the project until the whole idea and the mood board and everything has been ticked off between me and the client. So I am the one that's, I guess, doing all that. And AI does help me a lot with that. I think where it's become really handy is I've always had ideas and visions in my head, but it's hard. In the past, it was hard to get that out on paper and communicate that because I would need someone to actually
feel like a
yeah. But now I can actually do all the storyboarding and stuff because I can like come up with the ideas and do it all, and then still get it represented by using whatever like AI systems I'm using to like pitch the idea. And then if the idea gets approved by the client, then it goes to the creative already. So whereas in the past, I would need to bring a creative on early just to help with the whole storyboarding side of thing. But like that's time and money as well, like that goes into that.
Do you feel like sometimes what the fuck am I doing? Like, do you miss having more stability, or do you have stability in your life being a young business owner basically and a founder? Especially in like where the world is going with AI and like fucking inflation, and all that stuff.
Yeah, I feel like I've created my own unstable stability. Like I definitely don't have the traditional form of stability, but I love the life that I've built for myself. And just even things like Sunday night, I was with a mate watching a movie till like 10:30 at night, and just knowing I didn't have a boss and I needed to answer to it like for a Monday morning the next day. And like these little things, I think it like helps actually serve me as a person, and that so it might not feel stable, but I feel like very solid, and I'm very happy with like the life that's been crafted.
Do you feel like I feel that all the time with us at Heart Media? It's like we're always uncertain. It's like what's going to happen, but if you reflect and you actually think, it's like it's been pretty consistent for like a good amount of time now, and like you're always questioning because like it directly affects, you know what I mean? Like you gain clients, you lose clients. Like all you think about straight away is like if we lose a few more, then like we're screwed. Like what the fuck's gonna go up? But then like actually like you just are always kind of like that. You guys need to get like comfortable as a business owner with that feeling of kind of like a little bit more uncertainty than you're used to.
Yeah.
Especially early on, I guess, like when we're a fucking like $10 million company, it will be different.
Yeah. For now, you got to be a certain type of sicko to like be okay with sticking it out when it feels very uncertain.
The start is so hectic.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's so full on.
It's always like on edge. And like, this is a question that I kind of have gone through personally in my life. I'd like to actually hear your perspective on it. When I got into the NFTs and crypto, and like I think I was on it for like a couple of years basically, just obsessed with it. And I made some really good flips, and I saw the whole like value of money in that world. And for a while in those 2 years, especially that I made some profit back then, it was really hard to get back to reality basically and see how much money you can earn here compared to there.
Yeah.
It was actually like, it took me a good year to like adjust when like the bear market happened, and like I just had to shift back to reality basically. I don't know, did it happen to you? How do you feel about that?
Yeah, it definitely changed my perception of money and how to make money. Like I went from, in such a short period of time, my account gone from pretty much nothing to then like 120K, and then like a few weeks later it's back down to like 40K. And it was just like such fluctuations in big amounts of money was something I never experienced before. But I never really had to adjust back because I did sell everything to start good ideas. So as the bear market came in, I was kind of already out. So that was kind of my adjustment period. And then just, it hasn't been on my mind for so long, but I think it definitely expanded my belief on how much money you can make.
And now, do you find yourself like always kind of like, I don't know, are you satisfied with like your business and your life and your income and all these things? Because I don't know, I feel like a part of being an entrepreneur is like you're always thinking of like what's next, and like something is, I can do this better, I can make more money here. I feel like I'm always chasing to a level where you just forget how far you've come, and then Darren is good at like kind of centering me again and just reminding me of how far we've came, basically. How do you do with these things?
Yeah, I'm very proud of where I am, but I'm not satisfied at all. Like very unsatisfied actually with where things are at, just because there's still some boxes left unticked. Mainly on the financial side of things. Like it was really hard the first 2 years. We didn't turn any profit because we had so many expenses and whatnot. So it's only just now that I'm stepping into like a new business model. I'm actually like seeing how the bank account can actually grow instead of just doing cool projects. It's like, okay, but we need to like make money. And then like even little things, like me and my girlfriend booked a trip to America in October. This is a couple of weeks ago. And then like we buy the tickets over there and now I've got like $200 left. So I'm like, all right, like I've got pretty much till October to make 10 grand, like to, yeah. But I also love that. I love that I can make money very quickly if I need to. It's just like putting that energy towards it. Yeah. But I'm definitely, I'm definitely not satisfied financially with where I'm at. But I think that is the last thing that's left to fill up. Like I'm very happy with all the other cups in my life. And I always kind of knew that would be the last thing that goes through. So I think once that gets to a healthier spot, then I'll like be a lot more.
Did you have the mindset of, because sometimes I say this to other people that if you tick all those other boxes, then the kind of money will come as well. Do you know what I mean? Like, do you feel that with good ideas, or you're like, oh, I'm just going to make sure that like I'm satisfied in all the ways of my life, and then like that's kind of we're just going to follow.
Yeah, I've always had a lot of faith in that side of things. Also, a lot of faith that the money and the financial side of things will be the byproduct of doing good work. So that always comes first. It's never necessarily been about like what's the best way to make money. It's always it's important to know that you are profitable in things you're doing and making money. But definitely, what has come first is just like doing things that are good, that help the clients achieve their goals, but also look cool as well.
I think especially in a creative industry, just talking about kind of like the industry that we're in, people, they know this kind of stuff. Like the good clients, the clients that you do want to work with, they're not looking for someone that's trying to like maximize their profit or like some shit like that. You know what I mean? And especially if doing cool projects, which is, I've heard you drop that a few times, is something that's of, interest to you. I think you always have to have the mindset of just putting your best foot forward creatively, doing really good work, because once you kind of garner that, I don't know, respect or trust in the industry, and it's only, we're not 100% there yet, but considering like where we were last year compared to now, it's definitely going up, and it's just been from us just kind of like hustling and making sure that we put out everything into all the creative projects.
100%. And I think as long as you are doing that and the work is good, it keeps coming back to that. I interviewed my grandma a few weeks ago, and she's had an illegal sewing business that she's run for like 60 years. And I asked her, ridiculous. And I asked her what's the key to like having a successful business for so long? And that was her advice as well, was just make sure that you do good work. And it's so simple, but sometimes it is just a simple answer.
Yeah. I think you just have to also be passionate about the thing that you do, you know what I mean? Because you will do good work if you fucking love it.
Yeah.
I mean, like, I know these guys, I'm not as much because I'm not really there, like, the creative, like, the creative director. But these guys, like, they just won't put out shit because it means so much to them to do good work and hold themselves to a high standard. And that's so simple because it's like, well, you love it, that's why you do it. But if you were to get into it for a different reason, you're like, oh, well, maybe I can start a creative agency and just make money from it. It's like a trending thing. Yeah. Then it wouldn't be like that.
Yeah, it's not gonna last long. I think it'll crumble like very quickly.
I think it's pretty interesting because one of the most creative agencies in Australia, without naming it, it was actually started by a guy that is not a creative. He was just like a guy that loved making business, got around a couple of creatives, they were good, and he was just getting all the business, and he built it to be one of the best creative agencies in Australia and in the world as well. So it's interesting for, business is like a massive part of the equation. Like, you can be the most creative and have the best work, but if you really don't know how to bring business on, good luck.
Yeah.
But I'm sure, as part of this guy's the way he builds businesses, that guy, I actually don't even know who you're talking about, but
Yeah.
it would be that he has to maintain a certain level
Of course.
work the whole time, or else because like you can get new business, but you can't keep it.
No, the creatives he worked with were incredible, of course, but you know, it's like to be able to scale and go big is like to have a really good business mindset. And I mean, just think of like our journey, how much you have to learn about like, I mean, the hardest part about running a business is getting leads basically. It's literally like a fucking hidden myth that we've been trying to crack. You know, it's like up and down. It's really like the hardest part.
Yeah, it really is. I'm only just now like trying to work out how to bring in work outside of organic referrals, because that's everything. Even to this day, I have never done any paid marketing or paid advertising. It's all been relying on that. But that I'm at a point where my systems and everything are in check, and I can turn the tap on if I wanted to. So now it's like, okay, like how do I do that? How do I reach more people in the world to let them know that we exist and this is the work that we do?
It's the hardest part.
Yeah, it's the hardest part. You sound like you're very ambitious. I can feel that.
Yeah.
What is kind of like the end goal?
Yeah.
Because I'm just thinking with your business model that it could be, because like I said, we're a bit more traditional. Like we've got the office, you know, maybe eventually in like the next however many years, me and Bill would maybe like to take a step back, get more management people in, and that's how we could kind of maybe facilitate a lifestyle that we'd like to live more than the one that we're doing right now because we're running the show. But if you are the person that's basically, you know, bringing on the business all the time, leads, etc., like what do you reckon is next for you?
Yeah. So I've got a few, I guess, end goals. One of the next ones is in the professional athlete and sports space. Like I'm very passionate about sports. Massive Doggies fan. We've done a few jobs for them, a few different collaborations with them that have gone really well. Now I've like started working with some of their players, like one-on-one or more of a personal sort of scene to help them with business ventures. And that's huge for me. I love Detroit, like massive Detroit sports, love Pistons, love the Lions. So now that I've clocked the Doggies, that's, I guess, where I'm aiming for next. It's like doing the same thing that I've done with the Western Bulldogs, but in Detroit for...
Tell us about
what have you done
in Bulldogs?
Yeah.
What do you do?
So first job we did for them was a couple of years ago for Retro Round. They brought back one of their jerseys from 1996. It had like the old Diamond Dog on it. And we decked out our studio, the shop in the studio. We made it look like an old like 90s diehard Footscray fans lounge room. It's had like the old TV and all like the old merch and everything there. And then brought in 3 of the players, Rory Lobb, Ting English and Marcus Bontempelli, and shot them in these jerseys in there. Did a whole campaign for it. Even when they played the game, all our designs that we did were like all around the stadium, and we did like the front cover of the footy record and all this stuff.
Incredible. And how did you get that gig?
So I had a podcast client actually that I designed some merch for, and I just offered my studio for them to shoot it. I was like, because they already had a photographer, so I'm like, hey, if you need to shoot the merch, come down to the studio. Their cousin was playing for the Doggies at the time, and he popped in, and also their photographer, Chris, was statistician for the Doggies. So he was just doing photos on the side. So he came into the studio, saw what we were doing. We're in Footscray, Western Bulldogs are in Footscray. He went back to the club and was like, hey, there's this really cool little studio around the corner that you should meet with. So then the marketing team hit me up, and I had a meeting with them. And then it was only a couple of weeks after that meeting where they had this retro job for us.
And you're still with them now, aren't you? So like something you posted not long ago.
Yeah, we did a collab with them last week for Marcus Bontempelli's 250th game. So we did like the merch design for that and all the rollout of all the products for that, which was really cool. And this comes back to why it was important to build good ideas as a brand, because that lets us, like traditional creative studios, if they're to work with, let's just say the Western Bulldogs, they would kind of just do the work and then give it to them, and then they go on the way. Whereas we do it with them, it's like very proud to be a Bulldogs good ideas collaboration. It's like shared on Instagram together. It's like a lot of like bringing our local community into it as well, which you can only do if you actually have a brand presence.
Do you miss having a studio?
No, not at all, man. I think if I didn't have a big social life and already be blessed with like a lot of like good friends and that, like my social cup's already filled. Taking that away, I didn't lose that. I hated the commute. It's so nice now just being able to wake up and then like get straight into it. The drive half an hour there and back. I loved it at the start. I love what we had, but I think I was just so exhausted by the end of 2 years that it's hard to think about like what it was.
That was a big one.
Yeah.
That was a big one because you late nights at the office, blah, blah, blah. You don't have to travel like now to get home.
Yeah.
So crap.
And what's next for you?
So next year, back to the US side of things. So heading over there in October to reconnect with some old connections that I've got and start, seeing what meetings I can get and plant some seeds to start working with US sports team. This Good Humans collection, that's another big thing at the moment. Like I brought up earlier, like dropping one of them every week because we haven't had our shop really prominent for a while. We've kind of had that on pause for about 2 years. So after we get to about 10 or so releases for this new collection, I'll get the online shop up and running again. And then I'm really excited by that again at the moment, which I had lost that spark in around making clothes for a little bit. And it's only now just come back with this whole collection that we're doing. I love, like, my kind of routine at the moment is Monday nights I'll spend it making hoodies. So I've got the heat press and the laser cutter and all the materials at home. Do it myself. So I take the orders for a week and then after a week I'll cut it off and then get the stock in and then make all the hoodies and send them off. Yeah, I'm selling at the moment just for close friends and families through Instagram until the actual online shop's up and running. But yeah, selling them at the moment.
I love that.
Yeah. Yeah, man, I'll whip some up for you in a heartbeat.
Colorway's so boring now that it's just black and white.
What is it? Black and white?
Black and white.
Yeah, but set though, especially if you're like on shoots and stuff, having like just a black hoodie with a little heart meter in white, it looks clean.
We got some, yeah.
We should. So you'll make stuff like that.
Yeah.
Yeah, cool, man. We should actually explore
We know to do it, yeah. And you'd have obviously like a small MOQ as well.
Yeah, small. Anything above, if it gets to 20 units, then I've got a partner that has called Full Cowboy. He's got a whole production company. So if it goes above 20, that's way too much for me. I'm like, I actually prefer like less than 5. Yeah.
What's a part of the creative industry that you'd like it to be better or you'd like to fix if you can?
Yeah, good question. I'm kind of sick of data and ROI and the metrics on like the first 3 seconds need to look like this so the hook can come in for all of this and then checking the retention of like, I think we've gone way too far with that one thing that we're losing is brand feeling and that isn't really measured in those analytics. So especially when you're working with clients that maybe are like very into the numbers and stuff, it's like it becomes just so, I guess, routine then where everything kind of looks the same. Even if it's different content, it looks the same because everyone's following the same method of like hook, body, end or whatever. And I get it because that's what works, but I miss like silly commercials when we were growing up, like that Mentos ad where they would eat Mentos and the nipples would fucking get big and like just like stupid shit like that. You don't really see it anymore. And I think that's because it's not measured in the numbers. So that's something I would love to bring back in more where it's like, okay, we're not even going to fucking look at how many views it gets or how many likes or how many shares it gets. We just want to make a fun piece of content.
Yeah.
But it is important to also like be aware of all those things because, I mean, let's be real. If you can go viral,
Viral, like that's the key.
if you can go viral, you know, your business, you know, that lead generation thing, most of the time could actually be resolved or, so I think a balance between the two would be ideal right now.
Yeah, I agree. And look, it is important. And I understand it, especially if you're paying someone to make content for you. The reason why you're doing that is to advertise so you can get the most amount of leads in for whatever you got. I think maybe this is just where good ideas and there's people out there that can service for that really well. I don't know if I necessarily want to be one of those people that are servicing for that. If that's what the client wants, I would much rather send them to a company that can nail that and do that and then leave good ideas to be like, okay, we just want to like just make some wild shit.
Cool. What does success look like for you right now?
A lot of wealth, freedom, and that's like financial wealth, location wealth. Like I want to get back to traveling the world and exploring and all these things that I sacrifice to build good ideas. That's how I know I've been successful, is when I can do exactly what I'm doing now, but do it in Bali, in America, in Japan, and just go explore the world while still servicing clients and having good ideas rolling from a brand perspective. And then the time freedom. Like I want to be able to watch the NFL at 5 a.m. on a Monday and then know I can have a nap at 3 o'clock because I've just spent the last 12 hours watching football, and then I can do my work later at night and just not being like the slave to someone. So it's filling up the wealth area in different pockets.
Right.
Love that.
It's really cool.
What's been the most rewarding part of your journey so far?
A broad answer to that is just seeing clients that have had an idea or something that's a passion that hasn't really been materialized in the real world yet, and then being able to make that come true with good ideas. It's really cool to see people have a project that they maybe never thought was even possible, and it's like, all right, we're going to do our best to actually bring it to life and let you just focus on whatever that is. Like a recent one that's come in is this lady called Leela, and she wanted to start a tiramisu company. She's been making tiramisu for years and has always dreamt about having it in a cafe, but didn't know where to start and how to brand it or market it, whatnot. We had a conversation. Now we've built out a whole brand for her. We're in the process of building it at the moment. And she's got her full-time job. It's just for her to actually get that into cafes. So it's like, to be able to help other people be creative and have that passion. And then on a, I guess, more narrow answer, the job that we've done with the Doggies player, Marcus Bontempelli, because when he came in for the shoot, that retro round one earlier, he saw all the merch and all the branding and stuff we had around, and he pulled me aside after, was like, hey, I've had an idea for a cafe called Arthur's Milk Bar that I want to be like a mix between apparel and a traditional like American diner. Do you think you could help with that? So I was like, yeah. So that was about 2.5 years ago, and now that's just opened in the last 6 months, and they're absolutely killing it. Everything about it's awesome. So to bring now that sport passion into this, to have him be able to focus on footy, be like, yep, like still at the end of the day, I'm in the peak of my career, also one of the best players in the league. I need to focus on that. But to be able to assist him on the creative side of whatever's kind of needed for Arthur's Milk Bar is sick. And I want to start doing that with more athletes as well.
That's cool.
That's so cool. That's such an interesting business, or like even like project to be like involved in.
Yeah.
So he's got the idea, basically you help him execute it. He can focus on his life. And we checked out the milk bar. Actually, look.
Yeah,
Cool,
that's cool. Yeah, I think that's cool. I guess that's also a really rewarding part. I guess because you kind of bring whatever you're into the business, right? Because you've got like a branding agent.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's not traditionally like something that you would mix with sport, depending on the kind of like branding agency that you are. And you're doing a lot of like hospo stuff, I think, before, and all that kind of stuff. But you were able to add that touch, and that's what makes it feel really rewarding. Because I would say the same thing for us, like the recent work that we've been doing for Corrie Ice Cream is so amazing, because I'm really into fashion, and the fact that we were able to bring this kind of like street style, like fashion campaign shoot, do it like as part of Heart Media was so
sick. And then you over deliver on the work because you're super passionate about it. You're like, I don't care. It's like, it's ice cream and fashion. Like, this shit's awesome. I just want to shoot this all day.
good.
Cool.
Take on fantasy.
You go.
Hey,
Yeah.
you can give me the honor.
You go.
Fantasy question that we ask people, maybe seen on the podcast before, is if you could now go from the fantasy question, is if you could collaborate with anyone, doesn't have to be like any type of collaboration, but time and place isn't an issue. It could be Leonardo da Vinci, it could be anyone. Who would it be?
Yeah. Can it be a group? Detroit Lions, 100%. I would love to help them break into the Australian market as well. Like NFL, I think, is really picking up in Australia, in Melbourne in particular. And once again, it's like, that's something I'm super passionate about. I would love to run events here that are, whether it's like fan meetups or just merch activations or something. Like I'm dying to crack into the US sports scene.
Detroit Lions.
Alright, let's go.
I'll be there. October 20. I'm ready. I'll find whatever Irish pub is closest to the stadium. I'm going to be hunting you down.
That's sick. Anything else you would like to add?
Just thanks for having me, and you guys, like the work you're putting out. So this also off camera is awesome, like especially in the hospital space. I've loved seeing the growth that you guys have had over the last few years, and I think what stands out is that the content that's put out there is genuinely good and it's nice to watch. So I think this helps heaps as well. Just keep running your lane. And then on the good ideas side, just every Thursday got a new hoodie dropping with a different good human. We had Harriet last week actually.
Massive shout.
Certified good human. So yeah, I'm excited. I think that can open up a lot of doors. Like we've already got the next probably 20 or 30 names on the list. That's nearly, well, it's only 50 weeks in a year. So this isn't going away anytime soon. I think this is here to stay. I'm loving it.
Cool, man. Well, thank you for sharing your story. It's really nice to connect and meet and hear your story. Like, I feel like I resonated a lot with it. Like, it's kind of cool, like, to see we had very similar journeys somehow, and yeah, it's good to see that you're in a good place now with your business, and we wish you the best of the best, basically. And yeah, thanks for coming, man.
Thank you.
Appreciate it.
Appreciate it. I'll be around.
Thanks, bro. Merchant.